Hey Ted, how's it going?
Well, it could be better if I'm being honest. One of my Santas got himself into a bit of trouble and he has a pretty high-profile spot, so I'm going to need you to fill in for him.
Okay, yeah, sure. Who got hurt, though?
Tom Martin. Do you know him?
No, never met him. Where's the spot?
I'll text you the address. One more thing. Do you watch the news?
Not really. Why?
No reason at all. Just curious.
Okay.
All right, just make sure you're there by 5.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Okay, yeah, bye. Why would he ask if I watch the news? You know what? Alright, let's see here. Santa plus Tom Martin? Alright, let's see what the internet has to say about this. Whoa. Kringleville resident Tom Martin slays 15 at the Rudolph Mall? Martin has told the police that the mall is haunted and that the evil spirits dwelling there made him kill. Although strange occurrences have been reported at the mall lately, police say there is no evidence of the supernatural, and furthermore, Martin is likely working towards an insanity plea. Oh my god. I told them no malls. I said I'd work anywhere, but absolutely no malls. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Call him right here. I'm not doing it. No malls. Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, it's Christmas time once again, and you know what that means, right? Angry Judgmental Ostrich sweater. Because it's one of the best things I think I've ever seen. Yeah, I love this thing. Alright, and well, since it is Christmas, I figure why not check out a Christmas-themed horror movie, right? I mean, what else you got going on right now? I know you don't want to be hanging out with your family. So today we're going to look at Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's a classic. Well, it became a classic anyways. It was also sort of remade in 2012, but not really. It was called Silent Night, and it did feature a killer Santa, but it wasn't the same. I mean, there was like nods to the originals, but I don't count it as a remake. So this movie came out on November 9th, 1984, and runs anywhere from 1 hour and 19 minutes to 1 hour and 24 minutes, depending on what cut you watch. The link in the description and the one I reviewed will be the longer one. It was directed by Charles E. Sellier Jr. He also directed Snowballing. And get your mind out of the gutter, okay? It's not that. It's about a group of teens at a ski resort who have to fight back against the owner and the sheriff. Bunch of perverts, man. So this movie is a piece of horror history. Besides being one of the early Killer Santa movies, how it was received was interesting to say the least. Remember how I said it became a classic? Stay tuned for the fun facts at the end to learn more about that. Well, if you're feeling in the holiday spirits, let's get into the movie that is Silent Night, Deadly Night. Ho, ho, ho. So the intro into the title card is pretty awesome. We start off in olden times and see this family heading to see their grandpa on Christmas Eve. He just happens to be in a mental hospital. We see he's catatonic, and little Billy asks a fair question.
Why doesn't Grandpa say something?
He doesn't even know we're here.
Then what did we come for?
The adults go to talk medical records, and we see that Grandpa's just faking it. Well, the catatonic part, I mean, he's obviously nuts.
Christmas Eve is the scariest damn night of the year.
Yeah, he's a Looney Tune, alright.
You see Santa Claus tonight? You better run, boy. You better run for your life.
But Will Hare does do a great job in this role. And the music is great too. Yeah, he seems like he'd be fun at a party. As they're driving back, Billy starts asking questions about what Grandpa told him.
Mommy, were you ever naughty when you were little? Did Santa Claus ever punish you?
Before we meet the friendliest cashier ever.
Ho, ho, ho. I don't get enough of this shit on the radio. It has to come into my store now.
And Santa doesn't really like rude people, so...
You.
He takes off, and as the family drives down the road, we see that Santa's car broke down, and he decides he wants the station wagon. And Billy's dad stops, even though Billy tells him not to. So Billy's dad dies, and his mother doesn't really fare any better. He tries to find Billy, but can't. And the juxtaposition of the happy Christmas music here and all the death works great. Cut to 3 years later, and we see Billy is at an orphanage, and they don't appreciate his artwork. And this nun helps explain what's going on with Billy.
That it's all still inside him. All that terrible violence he saw.
She's Sister Margaret. She's played by Gilmer McCormick. She was also in Starting Over. The nun she's talking to is Mother Superior. She's played by Lillian Chauvin? C-H-A-U-V-I-N. Chauvin? I don't know, whatever. She was in, well, I mean, this is the role that she's probably most known for, but she has done a lot of other work. We find out that she's a hard ass.
I am not interested in what you think. I thought you finally understood that.
Billy is sent to his room, but the sister springs him out. On his way out, he comes across some sweet lovemaking going on, so naturally he watches. I mean, I would too. I'm sure you would as well. No? Just me? Okay. Yeah, whatever. And while watching, it gives him a bad flashback. He runs outside and we see his brother is there with him at the orphanage. And I absolutely love this kid he's with.
Billy, what's wrong? Your brother's in that case, that's what's wrong.
God, that kid's awesome. Just telling it like it is. Mother Superior finds him outside and gives him some life lessons.
But when we do something naughty, we are always caught. And then we are punished.
And?
Punishment is absolute.
Then she brings the thunder when they get back inside. While trying to sleep, Billy has a nightmare. I mean, really, who can blame him? And again, the music is great. He runs out of his room, and Mother Superior has a way to fix that problem. The next day, the kids are opening up their presents, and Mother Superior says,
I see nothing but greed where there should be gratitude.
and she has an even better idea than the bed ties.
William will sit on Santa Claus' lap and behave.
But it doesn't quite turn out how she plans.
What the hell's wrong with that kid?
And imagine being this guy who's just trying to do a hard job. I mean, nobody wants tons of kids sitting on their lap. Well, some people do, but we don't want them around. He runs up to his room and...
I didn't mean to be naughty. Don't punish me.
We then jump ahead again, where the sister is trying to get Billy a job at Mr. Sims' toy shop. He's played by Britt Leach. He was also in Weird Science and The Great Outdoors. 2 great movies. Now, he's not interested in hiring Billy until he sees what a beefcake Billy has turned into. By the way, 18-year-old Billy is played by Robert Brian Wilson, and this was his first acting credit. Then we get a nice montage of Billy really enjoying and excelling at his job. It seems to be the perfect fit for him, until he's reminded what time of year it is. Can you imagine? I mean, you're never gonna not be able to have to be around Christmas. That's a bad holiday to have trauma around. But working with his crush makes it a little easier. Then we officially meet Andy.
So what the fuck you think you're doing now?
You know, he kind of reminds me of someone.
When I leave you alone, asshole, none of your fucking work gets done.
That's who. He reminds me of 90% of my bosses. I knew I've heard those words before. That was really gonna bother me all day. Bunch of assholes. Billy heads outside and sees Santa and has another bad flashback. And again, it's totally understandable with what he's been through. He actually seems pretty well adjusted for everything he's gone through. Oh yeah, playing his crush, Pamela, is Tony Nero. She was in Commando Squad. As he's trying to calm himself down, he imagines this. And if you like hairy asses as much as the rest of us, then you're in for a treat. Let's just pause this here so we can take it all in. Yeah, that's a hairy ass right there. And by the way, if you're feeling stressed out, that's not a bad coping technique. Just imagine some sweet, sweet lovemaking. Yeah, are you creeped out yet? Good, you should be. Then Santa shows up and we get a neat shot. But it turns out it was just a dream and Billy reverts back to a little kid.
Don't punish me.
Don't punish me.
Overall though, still pretty well adjusted considering. We find out that it's Christmas Eve and the guy playing Santa called in sick. Well, sort of. He broke a leg or an ankle or something ice skating. And even though Mr. Sims is the right build for the role, he comes up with an even better idea. That's right, Billy's gonna play Santa. Well, I'm sure that will be fine. Like I said, he seems very well adjusted.
What's the matter with you? You're being naughty. I don't bring toys to naughty children. Punish them severely.
Oh, that? No, that's just an effective way to get the kids to chill out. I don't see anything wrong there.
Or I'll have to punish you.
He's doing a great job. The sister calls to talk to Billy when she finds out what he's been asked to do. Mr. Sim closes up shop and...
It's over! Time to get shit-faced!
I think we've all had days like those, right? I mean, I'm having one of those days right now. What, nobody else has days like those? Really? It's just me? Well, I don't believe you, but okay. By the way, I call this the drain water. See, what you do is we had a party, and not everyone finished their drinks. So what you do is you empty out all the cups into the sink, you put a little punch in there so it doesn't drain down, and you mix them together, kind of like a jungle juice, but a lot grosser, really. But when you're out of alcohol, that's what you gotta do, right? And you get this. It doesn't look great, but it doesn't taste great either, so the crew throws a staff Christmas party and commences to get
Shit-faced!
Andy has a present for Pamela, so they head back by the stockroom. And I really like how they follow it up, from the outside shot to the music with the toys to Billy staring down the aisle. I think it's fantastic, and it helps further set the mood of the movie perfectly. Anyways, Mr. Sims comes over sauced and reminds Billy about Santa.
You remember what Santa Claus does on Christmas Eve, don't you?
And tells him,
Better get started. I better get started.
and now's a good time to say there are some scenes in this cut that aren't great quality. You know, it's because they went back to add it in, but the footage hadn't been kept in great shape, so a few scenes have spots like this. He also adds in,
Go get him, Santa. Go get him.
seriously, the music is awesome in this movie. Andy and Pammy head back to the stockroom where Andy has to talk her into going further back. Billy can't help himself and heads back there too. Look, I don't have a drinking problem, okay? I mean, I feel like you're still thinking about me drinking, and seriously, I don't have a problem, okay? I mean, it just helps me get through the day, but that's completely normal. He sees Pamela telling Andy to stop, then Andy really jumps it up a notch.
God damn bitch.
Billy has a hardcore flashback, again, totally makes sense, but it does really get us into the mind of Billy, and it's well done. Okay, it's alright, Billy, just keep it together, you know, keep it together. You got this, man, you got this. Just go over there and tell him to stop, then kick the shit out of him for being kind of rapey. Or that's another approach to take. It's okay, you know, I'm not gonna count this against you. He was being a rapey asshole. Also, talk about core strength, right? God, I gotta start working out again, man. Then he turns his attention to Pamela, where he remembers something Mother Superior told him.
Punishment is necessary, Pamela. Is good.
Before killing her too. Okay, so it turns out I misread the situation. He might not be as well adjusted as I thought. Mr. Sims hears them and heads back to the stockroom too. And I absolutely love the look of this scene. You know, with the Christmas lights up in the back, I think it's very well lit. Besides most of the murder, this absolutely reminds me of Christmas as a kid growing up, before there was all that bullshit LED Christmas lights. Yeah, good times. After looking around for a while, he finds Billy and... Jesus, Billy, not another one! So this lady is the only one left, and she too heads back to the stockroom, where she finds Mr. Sims. The doors are locked, so she can't leave, and Bill doesn't want her to call the cops. A little cat and mouse takes place, and we get this.
It was the night before Christmas. And all through the house.
Which is awesomely creepy. So clearly Billy has totally snapped at this point, which is too bad, you know? I liked Billy. She outsmarts him for a minute, and just as she's about to try and get out, he pulls a bow and arrow out of somewhere, and she's dead. Now, I don't know where he got that from, but it does make for kind of a neat shot. It is followed up with a pretty cool shot of this as well. Billy leaves and we see his carnage before the sister shows up and sees it too. Get to this couple having some holiday fun when they hear some bells and she says,
The cat wants to come inside.
so she heads upstairs. Her cat actually is outside, but so is Billy, who appears to have picked this house at random. She puts up a pretty good fight, but Billy gets creative. And we get this creepy shot. Loverboy didn't hear any of that over the music, so he heads upstairs to find her, and he eventually does. And Billy's there waiting for him too. He puts up an even better fight, a couple of times, but ultimately Billy kills him too. As he's leaving, her little sister comes down and sees Billy. And this scene is also great. I mean, the music, Billy's nuttiness, waiting to see if he's gonna kill the girl too.
Have you been good? Or have you been naughty?
It's absolutely perfect. It's also clever because now the girl's fingerprints are on the murder weapon. That's a pretty good frame job right there. We see these cops and find out that they're looking for Santa, who they see going into this house, but when they get inside, it's not Billy. No, Billy is somewhere near these kids. So are these bullies who steal their sleds. Very, very naughty. And when the second one goes down... Ah, yes! That's awesome! That's one hell of a shot, you know, and I love the reveal. Whoever thought of that was great. I don't want to say genius, that's a bit much, but borderline genius. It is a great shot. The sister is at the police station where we find out
3 more murders.
and the sister reiterates her thoughts about Billy.
In fact, everything he's been doing has a kind of logic to it. Once you understand what he's gone through.
The cop suggests,
If that's true, there ought to be a way we can predict his next move.
and the sister realizes where Billy is headed to next. The cop lets everyone know what's going on,
Santa Claus killer may be headed that way now.
Responding officers are ordered to shoot to kill if necessary.
and we get some really pretty scenic shots actually. Never thought I'd say that about Utah. As the kids are outside, they see Santa coming, and again, this is a really cool shot. I mean, granted, without the music, it would be a lot more festive, but that just proves how good the music is in this movie. I really can't talk enough about it. As this cop approaches the orphanage, he sees Santa in the yard and proceeds to forever ruin Christmas for these kids. The cop and the sister get word about the shooting, but then they find out that Santa doesn't match Billy's description.
Some part says the guy's about 50, under 6 feet tall.
They further explain,
It's Father O'Brien. He was our Santa this year. Of course not. He's deaf. He couldn't hear it.
man, talk about bad luck. Well, God has a plan for everyone, right? That's what they say. That guy's plan was to die because he was deaf from birth. Yeah. Pretty good plan, pretty good plan. The cop is told to stay at the orphanage in case Billy shows up. He tells Mother Superior,
I'm sorry for what happened, but there is a killer on the way here.
the cop probably should have told her who the killer is, too. We also see that Billy's brother is still at the orphanage. We see the cop checking the grounds, and see, what you should do in this situation is kind of take a wide curve approaching that corner. That way you can't get caught off guard if someone's waiting around the corner with, say, I don't know, an axe? Well, it works out fine for him this time, but he does come across this area, and when he goes to inspect, no surprise, the music is awesome. He doesn't actually find anything, but when he goes to leave, Billy shows up, and we get another very cool shot. I really like how that is done. I don't know if I've seen something quite like that before, especially on that old of a movie. Billy takes a practice swing before going to the door. The kid lets Santa in, and Mother Superior ruins Christmas a second time for these kids.
There's no Santa Claus. There is no Santa Claus.
And just when he's gonna chop her up, the cop shows up and ruins Christmas a third time for the kids. So these kids have now seen 2 Santas get gunned down and told Santa isn't real. Okay, so I see a lot of therapy in their future. Maybe some more murders, I don't know. Billy tells the kids this.
You're safe now, Santa Claus is gone.
Which I think also applies to him. You know, like the Santa in him is gone now, so he's also safe, so to speak. It's actually pretty poetic, or nice, or I don't know. It doesn't suck, I guess. Then we pan up to his brother and...
Naughty.
Okay, so I'll just say it because I know we're all thinking it, but no one else is gonna say it. Someone should take that kid out back, behind the shed, like Old Yeller, and put 2 in the back of his skull. I mean, really, do you want to have to go through all of that again? I certainly wouldn't. You know, I'm not very motivated. And I'm kind of tired. And that's how the movie ends. And now for some fun facts. From 1954 to 2007, Lillian Chauvin? I still don't know how to say her name. Anyways, she had at least 1 acting credit come out per year, except for 1963 and 1974. Man, that lady was working. Despite the fact that this wasn't the first movie to feature a killer Santa Claus, I mean, there was Tales from the Crypt and Christmas Evil. Apparently, the advertising for this really leaned into a killer Santa and focused heavily on Santa carrying an axe. I mean, the movie poster played a huge role in that. It was created by Burt Klieger. You know, this is given probably the most of the credit for enraging people. That's right, you know, if you like horror movies, then you should be able to truly appreciate how awesome this movie poster is. I love it. But the problem is it led to 2 things. The TV ads were pulled almost immediately, and a group called Citizens Against Movie Madness, or CAM, protested the movie so hard that it got pulled from theaters a little over 2 weeks after it was released. And it actually got released the same time as Nightmare on Elm Street and was beating it, as far as profit goes, initially before it was pulled. You know, which is a shame because it is a great movie. You know, it really should have gotten the success. Try that again. It really should have gotten the success it was due. Look, it's actually really important to me that you guys know that I don't have a drinking problem, okay? I mean, you guys believe me, right? Guys? When I was 5, I got the Ghostbuster Proton Pack toy for Christmas, and that thing was the shit. So, would I recommend Silent Night, Deadly Night?
Yeah, of course.
Abso-fucking-lutely. This movie is great. Besides being well made, this movie is shot very well. The acting is pretty good, the production value is there. I mean, I love the lighting in this movie, and the music is perfect, you know? I really, really like this movie, partly because of what I just said, and partly because there's good character development. You know, we really get to see and understand why Billy eventually goes crazy. We go through 3 life phases with him until he snaps. Along with that, I mean, the killer is Billy. So what I mean by that is that the killer ends up being the main character, you know? It's not someone they know or someone completely random. It's the main guy. And he doesn't even know he's gonna snap until he does it. Plus, I appreciate that there weren't many horror movies about a killer Santa Claus up until this point. And they did it very, very well. I highly, highly recommend you check it out. And I'll put a link in the description where you can check it out for free, at least at the time I recorded this. In my last review, I looked at The Prey, and you should go check that out too. Alright, cool. Well, that's it for today. Well, if I don't see you before, have a great Christmas. And ho ho ho. Oh, also, this has nothing to do with the review. You should check out my review I did for The Chill Factor. I'll put it up here. I really like it. Not the movie. The movie's terrible. But the review, I'm kind of fond of it. My audio was a little messed up on it, but it's okay. It's a one-off kind of deal.